Okay, so yeah, and I'm, we should be connections turned out. Let's try again.
The fourth floor, that's not a fifth floor. No, it's still part of the fourth floor. You're calling this right here.
I'm gonna see, I might have to switch to that.
Meeting in here this morning.
Yes, sir.
Morning.
Morning. You've been signed out because you're currently signed in on another device.
Because we're both signed in under county judge, it says.
Oh, okay.
Unless I sign in on there as something else.
Well, let me, stop live view stream on YouTube.
She was making a question.
Okay, so for what?
Marriage.
Okay. Does she have any, when she wants to do it?
Maybe I can picture the
No, no importa, diga, bueno, que sea lo que
es un viernes, me he dicho que si me da.
Okay, you want it in the morning or afternoon?
¿No quieren la mañana o la tarde?
No.
Ya que
Say 2 o'clock.
a las 2 de la tarde.
Okay.
A las 2.
So we are streaming to YouTube.
And what's the name?
Ignacio.
Okay, so yeah, this is me. The only other thing is to,
Le voy a apuntar el nombre suyo y el nombre de.
oh, we record. Yeah, whenever we get ready to record. So I've got it on, I've got this on that because it just seems like it's kind of iffy, you know?
Tell her it's
So it's not echoing like a
Well,
overplaying.
I mean, I don't have, the only thing I have open, we are streaming to YouTube, and the only thing I even have open,
El día que vengan a hacerse.
no, okay, I'll cancel. Yeah, the only thing I have open right now is just Zoom, no other browsers, no other anything. And we are streaming to YouTube, but we're not watching that stream. You
Yeah.
know, I did, you know, I went to, view stream, and it pulled it up, and I could see,
You're gonna
So I think the only thing left to do is just kick off the recording and then when the time comes.
Importa na alguien que con usted que la vaya a intentar porque todo se va a decir, se van a tener que empezar a hacer.
¿Qué les va a decir? ¿Cuántas personas permite para salir?
How many persons can be with the president?
Oh, you can tell.
De 8 a 10 personas.
No, dígame, 3 a 4.
La segunda que tengan alguien que hable los dos idiomas y para que no estén interpretando lo que les enseñan, pues, muchísimas canciones. 50.
If something was to happen, I'll let her.
Si algo pasa, ella le va a llamar a ese número de teléfono. Thank you for
¿Para cuándo?
para el 19, a las 2 de la tarde.
Kimber, will you go in the courtroom and say something? I want to see if I can hear you. Let's see if it.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Thank you.
Come on. Where's the air conditioner, boy? Dang. Forgot my damn glasses.
How's Mark doing today? Good, good. How are you doing? Doing good. I'm ready to feel nice and chill out back there. Nobody was up there. You started shooting from behind you. If you everything else, you'll tell you where to come. You go louder? Yeah, we go,
I got to borrow your glasses. I forgot my glasses. There's nothing to read in.
nowhere near finished. Oh, I forgot mine. I think I was up there.
Morning, Nicole. Who's Nicole today?
Yeah, that sounded about half the really sound. Move it over how I wanted to look, I had to move it over. People that don't know.
Yeah.
You gotta drive by. And we're fixing to put it out here for so far. They'll be tight. Oh. I figured out, well, this is regular thing. We're gonna stay there. How you doing? Yeah, I mean, that is it up here.
They still got you on that?
Yeah.
11 o'clock till 7 o'clock?
6 to 6. Yeah, still going.
Yeah, but you're young.
Yeah. Still, thankfully.
Yeah, you're young. You're young.
Yeah.
You handle it.
You guys still chip season? Y'all getting ready to chip season?
Get the road ready. It'll be like May, June. Let it warm up. I guess we still have to mask.
Yeah, I got 2 of them. Yes, sir.
The bridge is 254 and the barn is 2. Excuse me, 6.
She's right there. So. She's stitching me. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not bad. That's a tough one.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4. There's the- They call you too?
Oh, we got a few minutes, folks, to prepare with, we gotta wait till the magical hour of 8:30 before we can do anything, so. I saw that. Oh. One of those meetings this morning. He would not have, I got another, he's sitting in the email, I haven't, I started off, it looked nice, when you get in the middle of it, one of the sandwiches, the ugly parts of the middle, so that's what reading, those, and stuff, I'll read about that. So I'll have to circle back to that, because it was,
You can't jump through. You like the lane.
I'll start getting some this afternoon, 18th, for the day, I know back to this, they had a meeting yesterday. We won't talk about it. Almost there, almost there. Hey, we got some of the general public with us this morning, good deal. Oh, not you two, sorry. There's a computer down here, fellas. Public's in the back or not, and they're the public. Y'all excuse our mess, we got a slight construction project going on out here for you that don't know. We've taken most of the sheet rock out here flooding, and you'll see the hoses behind me here in this picture, blowing hot, dry air up into the ceiling when we're not here using the room. The goal is to keep from having to take the ceiling out and get the water out. And I think it's done a pretty good job of getting most of the residual water out. Now it's just some general dampness up there. And I don't know, but I expect it to be blowing hot, dry air here until the end of the week. So at least that's the game plan at this point.
This is not 110 outside.
Oh my goodness, it would be terrible if this had happened. Yeah. I start planting lime trees and lemon trees in here. We got a tropical rainforest. We grow chocolate in this place.
Put some eucalyptus leaves in here.
Eucalyptus, wildfire,
Whatever, just make it, we open up your sinuses.
oh, there you go. That's good, Rick. I grew up, 2 medicines you had, and monkey blood and fish paper up.
Right? You tell them age and everything, man.
Tincture of iodine?
Tomorrow's good for walk through the courthouse.
Yes, tomorrow, and then, yes, tomorrow's Wednesday, just a quick update. I'll tell you what, let's get the meeting started, we'll go from there. So at this time, I'm going to call this regular meeting, the Hill County Commissioners Court to order this Tuesday, March the 9th, 2021. Let the record reflect this meeting was posted in accordance with Texas Government Code 551, better known as the Texas Open Meetings Act, and a quorum of commissioners is present and established. We are also conducting this meeting pursuant to Governor's Executive Order GA 28, which has been modified by GA 32 and a couple others. And by that, we are inviting the public to participate in person and by Zoom, trying to make our meetings a little more open to the rest of the world. So at this time, if I could, Mr. Lake, could you please give an invitation?
Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for the many things that you do for us. We ask you to be with the court and the county as we move on into the 21st century. Help us to make the good decisions that need to be made and get things lined up as you would have us. We ask you to be with all the people who have lost relatives and friends in the COVID and the people who are still having trouble in the hospital. And we thank you for everything you do for us.
Amen. If you want the flag, pledge the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas,
one state, under God, one indivisible. Hey, thank you all very much for joining us today. We really appreciate it. Oh, we're back in the Hill County courtroom after a meeting out. We look around, we've got a bit of a construction project going on. It's going to be like this for about the next 6 months. I'm going to manage expectations there. Quite a few different things going on at the moment. The drying operation, these are these tubes you see behind me. They're Dustins. They're blowing hot, dry air into the ceiling of this room. This ceiling is a metal ceiling. You see these bowls up here where there are a lot of them are containing water. So the insurance company wanted to try drying it out with these desiccant units before they actually spent a considerable sum of money to take the ceiling down, dry it, and replace it. Same thing with the floors in here. The floors are laying back down nicely. You wouldn't realize just about 2 weeks ago that floor was cupped enough you could put soup in it. So it's starting to lay back down. Again, it's the subfloor and under the floor that we're more concerned about. That floor is wood, which just came out of state capital rebuild in 89 and 90. And it's been a state capital for 100 years previous. So that's the older wood. Underneath that's a layer of tar paper, and under that is a layer of, I don't call it particle board, but it's a type of plywood there, and then there's concrete. So a bit of a cushion. What we're really concerned about is that layer between the tar paper and the concrete right now. The goal is to not pull these floors up completely. But again, we're still checking for moisture. The moisture experts, I don't know exactly what you call them, we're still putting anything later this week. So we finished up most of the major drying units. The desiccant semi trucks that are outside are out. Water's out of the building. All the sheetrock is out that we're going to believe we need to take out next time. Again, we see a certain this courtroom above us, and then the basement continue to bring hot, dry air through the area, dry it out. If it was August, we just opened the doors to the world and let it take care of itself in about 3 hours, but it's not. So here we are. This week, Wednesday, the insurance adjusters, the third-party adjusters, tax buyer, will be back here, I think, around 10 in the morning. So we'll have a walkthrough with them and any additional concerns. If there's anybody in the courthouse that has a concern, there's something that they're seeing or not understanding, please let us know. I kind of want to get with those adjusters along with our IT people, with Susan for sure as our loss coordinator, and anybody else that may have concerns about how we start this process of getting reimbursed. Yes, sir.
Should we coordinate the recovered people to be at that meeting?
It'd be nice if they could. Albert could be up here, that'd be great. Yeah, if we can get Albert up here Wednesday 10, thank you. We're going to go ahead and call in. We talked with TDM, Texas Division of Emergency Management, and because there's a possibility some of this damage may not be covered by insurance. It's just a possibility. They haven't told us none is covered. But TDM has agreed to come in early because of the nature of this and the size of the claim and work with us from the start. So if there's going to be something that, for whatever reason, the insurance is going to say it's not claimed, again, because we had a disaster declaration that Saturday before the Tuesday disaster happened, then that will be covered under FEMA. So we're just going to bring those people in to tag along right now and pay attention to what we're doing early on. So if there's something, we don't miss anything. Try to get all we can. So that's kind of what's going on that front. I guess I'm going to keep talking here. So vaccines, we didn't, wasn't a whole lot, but we were in our first vaccine clinic last Friday. We got about 25 county employees and 75 teachers in Middle County. As of March 3rd, teachers make a new group that can be vaccinated. We've argued for that for a long time. My goal has always been to get our teachers vaccinated because if my teachers can't go to school, my schools aren't open, my community's not open, my economy's not open. And I've had teachers in schools. So we started that process. Goodall, Witcher, and Bosque County has received vaccines. They didn't have as much demand as they needed, so they went ahead and vaccinated 130 teachers at Whitney last Friday. So we're very happy for that. We're grateful. We continue to see more vaccines flowing into the county every day. Our week 12 allocations are out now. That's from the week of March 8th, this week forward. And what we're seeing is more vaccines have showed up this week than ever have before. We used about 800 vaccines in the Bill County versus what we were seeing maybe 100 to 0 in the last couple of weeks. So that's really starting to pick up steam. Keep in touch with your local pharmacy. Reach out to the hospital. These people have waiting lists. We're still talking with TDM. They want to give us a number of vaccines. They've not confirmed that yet, but we're working on how to put the clinic together and mass vaccinate 1,000 people or so when we get to it. So we're already gathering our list, identifying personnel, things along those lines. Again, we were told from FEMA, and they reiterated last week, any expense we spend towards vaccinating people is 100% reimbursable. So I'm not looking to spend a bunch of money here, but at the same time, the more cost to get people vaccinated. It's all to our best interest for our community to have people vaccinated. Vaccines are safe. Vaccines are effective. Vaccines are the way we get back to normal. People have been anti-vax since the beginning of time. And you look back in the 1920s, smallpox vaccine, people were having this argument, they don't want vaccine against smallpox. I get it, people are hesitant. It's something they don't know, they don't trust. Certain populations have been treated really badly by medicine in the past. At the same time, if we want to see a day where we're not wearing these things everywhere for our own safety, let's talk about that. Last week, the governor lifted the mask order on March 10th. That's tomorrow. I'm going to continue to wear a mask when I'm in public. Why? Because I believe masks work. I believe the science is there. I believe the very numbers in the state of Texas show you those masks work. Back in July, when they instituted the mask order last year in midsummer, and we dropped our numbers precipitously. I think that we've been experiencing some extremely low hospitalization rates and infection numbers lately. I think a large part of it is, after talking with Dr. Hellerstedt, that there's a number of people who got this that we don't know if we got it. There's a lot of people who got the coronavirus that just didn't show any symptoms, no signs. Maybe as many 30-35% of the people have got it. So there may be a large population out there that hasn't, that we know about, that is keeping us kind of at bay. So those antibodies are supposed to be good for about 90 days once you get it. The vaccine, longer, but we don't know how long yet, maybe a year, maybe longer. So our goal is to keep people safe. In the courthouse, the Court of Appeals, the Texas Supreme Court is the body that makes the rules through the Office of Court Administration. They have not yet lifted their mask order in the courthouse, so you will see it. If you don't want to wear a mask, God bless you. Never wrote a single ticket for it because the governor's order was unenforceable from the get-go. They told that to the prosecutors, they told it to us. It was a bad order, but at the same time, it did work to save lives in the state of Texas. So if you see me with my mask on, take it for what it is. I don't want to give you anything. If you don't have yours on, that's okay. I'm not going to mention it, but I believe in trying to take care of others where I can. So that's what I've got going this morning. That's a lot of work. A lot of things happening around this building. I'll try to get an update out in the paper this week sometime. I'm trying to do that last week. It's kind of been a little bit busy. And then I got to come to work to get some relief from this Lewis working like around the middle of my trencher over the weekend. So, all right, that's what I know what's happening in Precinct 1 today.
Precinct 1 is good. We're getting back to putting some of these FEMA projects, getting them going again after the snow, that wreaked a little havoc on our roads, but not too bad. Jeff Ward is our environmental guy. Everybody knows about him. He is doing an outstanding job. I cannot tell you, that guy has cleaned up more stuff in our neighborhoods in Precinct 1. And I think they fear him worse than they do the coronavirus. When he drives up, man, they start picking up stuff and putting it in the trash. And
Sure,
yeah.
good idea.
Thank you. That guy does a good job. But everything is going good. We're just trying to get some FEMA projects done and get some rock on the road. And that's all I got for you.
Mr. McGowan, what's happening in Precinct 2, Mr. Crockett?
Same old thing, all in rock, changing culverts out, upgrading roads, and trying to get some ready to do some chip sealing back come June, July, and August, and upgrade some roads, and same thing every day.
All right. What's happening in Precinct 3 this morning, Scott?
Wind turbine people.
Wind turbine.
Yes. They are blowing and going in Precinct 3, man. There are trucks running everywhere and blades and tubes being delivered and generators, and it's
They're not messing around over there.
they're not messing around at all.
Are they helping out on your roads?
Yes, they are working on our roads, and we've had a few issues with them getting off their designated routes, but with it, they've worked with us real well, so everything's been real smooth so far. And just I'll be glad when they're all gone.
I don't blame you.
Lots of traffic in our area.
I imagine. Wow. Good deal. Mr. Lake, you've had some special assigned duties on top of your normal job. What you got going on?
Oh, we've got, we're grading roads and hauling gravel. I've met with the architect for Covington and for that new ag building, and visited with her and talked to the people, the highway patrol and the driver's license people and all kinds of. Get an idea of how much space they need and how to get that so we can move that into the vacant part when they get all the stuff out and then begin to move further into the building. Also, I met with some people, there's another solar farm wanting to come out off of 934. So I met with those people last week. So and it's going to be right across the road from the other one we approved. So it's going to be quite interesting to get all that in there, but They have already paid the first year's lease
Wow.
and a little over 2,000 acres. And so they have a sizable investment in it.
That's something I forgot to mention. I had a conversation Friday with a group called NG. NG is a energy provider in the state of Texas that used to own coal-fired plants and other kind of natural gas plants. They've divested, and then they're like Coletta Creek is one of their plants, and they divested themselves a lot of that, and they're in the process now of buying green energy projects and putting those up. So Alpine Energy, who's doing the Sun Valley Solar Project from Abbott down to the county line, they purchased that project and they expect to start turning dirt September of this year. And they also expect to possibly expand the scope of that project even further, which they haven't signed that 100% yet, so it doesn't speak publicly. But they're going to look expanding the scope of the project, but their goal is to start turning dirt September 2021 and put the project online December 2022.
The people I talked to, they figure 23 is when they will be there. And they have upped the rental fee tremendously.
Really? Okay. All right. What's happening in Laurel Emergency Management today?
Judge, just, you covered most of it. We've been trying to maintain the testing, as well as trying to set up for vaccination. We got a bit of good news last week with the, our supports building. Our generator is large enough to handle the whole need of that building. So with a little bit of modifications, we don't have to invest in a second generator for the server farm.
Oh, something to bring commission that everybody's on the same page, the general public as well. As you know, one of the biggest losses in this courthouse building is the sheetrock. It was how they designed the building. Architects redesigned this building. They put a halon gas system in our server room on the second floor. Well, that's all fine and good until the water from the third floor crashes through and it doesn't do any good. So in the process of moving our server room off site, we remodeled the old jail down to support services building, but they left the old drunk tank down there. And it turns out that big steel block makes a perfect server room. So conversation we've had back and forth moving forward, Tom's talking about, that building's completely generated. It has redundant 3 different internet connections into it at this point. But what will need to happen is we'll need to put a mini split unit, which is a small air conditioner for redundant air conditioning, the same thing you see on the second floor in that room. And we will need to do a little bit of electrical work to make sure everything ties into the generator the way it should. We've got a bid for about $7,300 to do that. I'm going to go ahead and tell them to start that this week. So,
And also to upgrade the air conditioning on the front to lower that load.
correct. One of the things we will be doing in this process is that building was made in the 1980s, early 80s, and air conditioners have come a long way. So there's still an original air conditioner running in the front that wasn't replaced in the back end product. It's a 7.5 ton unit. What we're being told now by air conditioning people, you can easily get away with a 5 ton unit because efficiencies are so much better than they used to be. By doing that, it drops the electrical load being pulled and allows us to utilize that generator for both that mini split and that, so everything would be on electrical power, on generator power, I should say.
Other than that, Judge, we've just been working with TM, working with the Department of Health Services, trying to nail it down. There's a lot of things been promised, nothing's been delivered. And we've learned over the last several months, until you have eyes on it, your hands on it, it don't mean anything.
Yeah, unfortunately. Thank you.
But anyway.
Good deal. Bill, what's going on in IT?
Well, Judge, we are continuing to, in the recovery efforts from, exactly 3 weeks ago today was when the flood happened. And I'm pretty proud of how we have, how far we've come. We lost over half of all of our server network equipment in, the server room. And so we're starting to see kind of a transition now from recovery efforts, because everything for the first 2 weeks for sure was just, let's identify what works and restore services to the best of our ability. And so we're kind of starting to transition now. Most everyone has had files restored and things like that. So I'm starting to see more regular day-to-day type work requests coming through. So in other words, we're kind of finishing up the recovery side, and now I'm getting working hard on the new build out for, as the judge mentioned over at the LEC, building out the new server room. I'm going to be ordering some equipment and, be asking to spend a little bit of money coming up, but, we've got to have it. So, everything in that server room had water on it in some form or fashion. A lot of things died, more than half. but the stuff that we are running on, now, we can't trust it long term as county, county government, so.
And I think that's a good way of looking at that. It's like when you're playing tag with kids, when the tags you're out, it's the same thing with water touching a piece of equipment. We're finding already that things that came back on the next day and ran for a couple of weeks are starting to die. So we talked to the third party adjuster for the insurance and let them know, anything that got water and air on it, we're going to plan for it works right now. And they said, yeah, it's 100% was the right way to do things. That is correct, because we now no longer have a usable lifespan. On our computers, we run to a 5 to 7 year application replacement process for our computers. Well, if it's a year old and it worked after the flood, I don't know if it has a 5 to 4 year lifespan anymore. I don't know if it has a 2 year lifespan. Good example, we had a backup server, we pulled it out of the server room, good to go, fired it up, downloaded the data off of it, let it run for 2 weeks, turned it off, put it back in the rack, now it won't turn on again. It's done. So you're gonna see a lot of stuff like that. Just because equipment in your offices work after the flood, don't mean they'll work next week. We know that this water event is severely shortened the lifespan of a lot of our computer equipment. So we encourage elected officials to report what got water on it. Even if it's working at the moment, we need to know, because we can't expect the taxpayer to flip that bill later when we're paying for insurance. It needs to be something we need to be planning now. And we'll work with the insurance company. If the insurance company says, well, it still works, we're not going to pay for the whole life, we'll pay for half life. Fair enough, but there has to be some competence through our insurance will happen.
So essentially, the list that I'm working on now is everything in the server room. Okay, it's on the list, and every displaced office, VA's office, tax office, every office that had, their stuff got so wet in their offices that they physically had to move out. So that's where.
Wonderful. All right, well, thank you, appreciate it. Sheriff, you got anything for us?
We had a real bad accident, auto accident Sunday morning, which 2 young adult locals perished in the accident. So of course our prayers go out to their families.
Appreciate that. Anything from the treasurer?
Paying the people, paying the bills.
Anything from the auditor?
Yes, the outside auditors will be here on the March 24th. So I think last year they cut short the commissioners going to see all your equipment and so forth, and the sheriff, because COVID had just started. So I think they'll be wanting to do that. They'll be going to the different offices and needing your assistance. And while we're gathering up documents, we'll be, letting you know what we need in that respect. And if you haven't turned your insurance form in, it's just kind of a duplicate effort of what was damaged, just to make sure that we recognize all damages and get together. And we'll have to get together with Martin if you've been working with the insurance and the insurance adjuster to be sure that we get everything identified. And I've asked the department heads as well to, if they're replacing something, due to the insurance, maybe write insurance on that. So that's another tickler that we can bring all the information together on. I've been trying to watch those invoices. Our federal grant, the 1.1 coronavirus grant, he sent back some things wanting some additional information, and so we're sending the last of that today. So I hope some counties have already been receiving their funds, so I hope we'll be getting that. We'll be getting about another 900,000 off of that. And trying to think what else. Just a lot going on, so we'll try to help you any way we can. So.
Thank you, Ms. Susan, appreciate it. Any other elected official, appointed official, got anything for us this morning? I was looking at you, not through you, but okay. All right, in which case, then we're gonna open it up for open forum. Is there anybody who wants to speak to open forum? If there's something that you want to address the court about that's not on the agenda, this is your opportunity to address the court. If you would, try to limit your comments to around 3 minutes in duration, and as we respect you, please show respect to the court. I'll open the floor for open forum. Anybody online? Nobody online, nobody in the courtroom. We're gonna move along now. So let's move to our consent agenda this morning, and that is we're gonna have action on minutes of February 9th and 23rd. We have action on invoices of March 9th, but that also includes the ratification invoices of March 3rd as well. Action on invoices payroll of February 26th, 2021, and action on monthly report for revenue and disbursement, and that is the consent agenda.
Make the motion for
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Is there any individual item you take part for discussion? If not, I'll call the question. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? Motion shall carry. So here's those two. I'm going to send the minutes around. Now, there's more than 2 minutes here. Some of these were previously approved, but we didn't get around to signing them, so kind of cleaning that up this morning as well. Six signatures on minutes. 4 minute agendas and 2 executive sessions. All right, good deal. So let's move on to our court orders today. And item number 1 is discuss and approve employee wage status changes. We have Eli Diego from the sheriff's office is a jailer trainee, is leaving us. He was a jailer trainee, wish him well. Sam Perry, also a jailer trainee that is leaving us, so wish him well. And that is the payroll wage changes for this morning.
Make a motion to approve.
second.
Motion is second to approve. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? Yes, ma'am.
We had some more wage changes.
That's one.
We have more wage changes. I don't know how they didn't get down to the office, but
I didn't see a lot of this until last night.
yeah, I know. We've had a lot of special requests, so I apologize for the lateness of it, but, is it possible that we could?
I'd like to see them first. If you send somebody
Yes,
down here with them, we'll
Yes,
take
I
that
will,
again in a
I will
minute.
go up and look.
Okay, if you'll do that, I'll appreciate it.
I sure will.
So while we're doing that, we're gonna go ahead and move on to number 2, which is discuss and take action on presentation by Hill County Chief Appraiser, Mr. Mike McKibben. Mr. Mike McKibben, our Chief Appraiser with us this morning. Come on up, you have the floor, sir. Good morning. How you been?
Doing good.
Good to hear. Good to hear.
Hope each of y'all are doing well too.
We're making it, in circumstances.
Yeah, I hated to hear about all this damage from the courthouse, and we appreciate all y'all are doing. Everybody's stepping up. We sure appreciate all y'all's hard work. I've reached out to Judge Lewis when this happened and offered to free up, some workspace in our office if y'all needed it too. And that offer still stands.
Well, we've been on taking you up on it too, so thank you.
Yeah,
Really
you're welcome.
appreciate it.
You're welcome. And Judge Lewis had asked me to prepare a cost for the appraisal district to collect the taxes for the county and present it to you today. So I appreciate y'all having me here today. I have a handout here. I don't know if y'all have a copy. It's a proposal with
I don't have it. Oh, I'm sorry.
a copy of interlocal contracts.
There you go.
Sir.
And the cost to perform all the collection and assessment functions for the county will be $45,770. And this is an actual cost. We don't get anything extra out of it. It's just a service we can offer. Appraisal districts have been collecting taxes, our appraisal district, Hill County, since the late 1990s. And it was just a service back then they could offer to the governmental entities, and we just continue that on today.
It's been over $50,000 a year for just the software line item alone for the server, for the licensing on that software. You're telling me you can collect every tax we collect $45,770?
Yes, sir. And we currently collect over $31 million in tax levies for the entities that we collect for. And there's approximately 40% of appraisal districts around the state actually collecting taxes. So it's not, uncommon for appraisal districts to do tax collections. I'll share a couple of the benefits with you. I'm not familiar with your budget, so, like you are. So I don't know exactly how much you'd save, but I'm certain that you'd save a substantial amount once you did your analysis on it. You'd probably see the savings on personnel benefits, the software package, mail outs, letters, things like that.
No doubt.
You know, and in today's time, it's kind of difficult for a governmental entity to not want to save taxpayer dollars. We're all looking for ways to tighten the belt up. My salary would be the same. I'd like to point that out. Our staff's salary would be the same. It's really no different from us collecting y'all's taxes than what we're already collecting, because they all overlap on pretty much the majority of the county. So it's, the only cost is, just some paperwork. I mean, it's not really much more time for the staff that's already entering the data. The mail out, you ought to be splitting the mail out with, the school or cities or wherever the property is located. So it's really a cost share. Centralized collection makes paying taxes so much easier, and it's a huge benefit to the public. They don't have to go one place to pay taxes. They don't get confused where they send their taxes or overlook one. Centralized collections will lower the cost for all of the other Hill County entities that we collect taxes for, because there's more cost sharing in the printing and mailing and postage and so forth. So, it actually benefits and saves taxpayer dollars in other entities as well. The contract, it's an interlocal contract written by our attorney, which is also y'all's billing attorney.
Yeah,
So they share common interest. The contract has a clause in there where it can be terminated by either party with a 30-day notice, so it's not like you're bound for a long period of time. Like I said, we use the same delinquent law firm, so it's pretty much a seamless transition. Tax seizures and tax sales, those would all go the same. You never even notice any different in those. We process all required state reports on behalf of the entity we collect for. The funds that we receive from tax payments are put into a money market account, which is basically a holding account. The money comes in, the money goes out. We don't keep it. The money's transferred to each entity weekly during the heavy tax period, and then usually once or twice a month during the off peak, whichever is practical. We don't like keeping a lot of money in that account, so it just comes in and goes back out. So you can see it pretty much just makes sense. So if y'all have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them for you.
How many parcels are in Hill County?
47,000 approximately.
And we send out the tax information in spring and summer to each of the 47,000 parcels. Each one of them are separate.
There's combined mailing on a lot of properties. One person owns, he may own 4 different parcels and try to get those in the same envelope mailed out.
So there might be 25 or 30,000 single.
I think there's in the high 30,000s.
Okay, so basically you would say 2 sets of stamps.
That's
So
correct.
you'd say 30,000 there. Then you've got all those different parcels that you'd save envelopes twice, so you'd save another
Right.
50 or 60,000 envelopes and sheets of paper, which is what, 12 cases of envelopes and paper. And
Start adding it up.
that
That's
would
the
probably
big
more than
savings.
just saving that was more than cover the cost that y'all have.
That's correct.
And I know personally, I had one of my good friends came to pay his taxes this year. He started to pay taxes all at the same time. He came here and he was in line for 45 minutes waiting to pay his taxes and sort of happy. And he left and went out to y'all's office and he was able to pull right up front, which you can't do here. He walked inside with one person ahead of him. He said in less than 10 minutes, he was back in his pickup leaving. And he told me if we ever do this, he would be very much in favor of it because it's so much simpler, especially the older people have to get out and they can't find they may have to park way around the edge and come and walk up the deal. And I think it would be a huge deal. Plus, just myself, I'm sitting here thinking we could probably save 200,000 or more a year on going with y'all. And I mean, that's 200,000 worth of taxpayers' money that we can do something else with it if we need to. So, what do y'all think?
I'm wondering why we hadn't considered this before.
Well, I think it's a good idea. I mean, I'm very much in favor of it.
Yeah.
Now, talking to the attorneys, giving them this stuff, the board has to agree to this, but also the tax collector, Hill County has to agree to this. I believe is my understanding.
That's my understanding.
So it takes everybody involved to be considered as something that we can't take action today, obviously, when we reach out to Kristen, see if she's going to be willing to do this. It'd be a light load on her, and make life a little easier.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's going to save the county taxpayer a lot of money.
Well, and I think if she didn't want to do it, then people would wonder why we're throwing away $200,000 or more a year.
Give us a 5-year contract.
5-year contract. Now, you can go get 30.
10-year contract.
Like I said, we've been collecting taxes for Hill County entities since the late 1990s. It's just, part of our everyday work. So, and it's not really any added effort on our part, to collect on the county's part. It actually, would be a big relief, a tax savings, and, they all get paid the same amount. So it's less work for the same amount of money. So it's always good in my book.
Well, I would be in favor of it.
I think it's listed on the agenda as a presentation. It does not discuss discussion. So
Discuss and or action on presentation by Mr. McKibben.
Okay.
I mean, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I mean, no.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think we have a duty as elected officials and representatives of our constituents and the county to say, if we can save, $250,000 a year. I mean, as a taxpayer, I would want that money saved. I mean,
I believe it's something to think about.
Like I said, I don't see it as an action taking place today. It's something we've got to approach the tax assessor
Mhm.
about.
That's the one.
And she has to have a sign off on it, but it's really this big of a savings to it. And, there's going to be a decent transaction for county citizens, taxpayers. I don't see the downside to it. I just don't. I asked the auditor because the auditor is one of those people that has so much daily interaction. What things do we need to consider? What things do we not talk about here that we need to consider that go on behind the scenes that would be important if we were to think about making a change like this?
I guess the CAD, do y'all use True Automation, or who is you get the same software provider? So we get like the reports every 15 days, the first of the 15th and through the end of the report to reconcile back. I'm not sure if there's checks and balances on somebody appraising your property as well as collecting it. I don't really know the ins and outs, but I know for a long time they have tried to get other entities, like the Whitney ISD, to be collected here to save funds, but I guess it never was thought in the reverse. So, it's pretty much,
We have interoffice fraud prevention policies that have been in place, and the same person that collects the money doesn't balance the books. We have different people that do that. We don't take a whole lot of the $31 million we collect in. It is not in cash. Occasionally someone will come in with a big stack, but normally it's credit cards, checks, or that sort. So
I guess over the internet, I guess you do.
right. We don't send the same person to the bank every day. We don't send the same. We don't go at the same time every day. We have appraisers and employees coming in and out of our office, so it's kind of really hard to tell who might be making the bank run. Hillsborough Police Department, actually the Sheriff's Department, have told us if we have large amounts of cash to give them a call, and they'll have a deputy follow us, to the bank. It was said they'd rather spend 10 minutes doing that than 6 months trying to solve a burglary. So there's a lot of, we have a lot of policies in place. We have surety bonds and errors and omissions. insurance, which is, I'm sure is similar to what y'all have. It's something that ever did happen. If you have any questions, y'all have a phone number, so feel free to, give us a call or.
Lot of process for sure, so thank you for the presentation today, I really appreciate that.
Is this something, if we can get it done, y'all will start the process this year? Or is this next year?
Yes, sir. No, it's probably about a 3-week conversion process
That's it.
through the software. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What kind of increase of personnel would you need for that?
We would not need any additional personnel. Like I said earlier, no one gets a raise out of them. It's just an additional service we can offer. So it's kind of makes sense, really.
So you're already geared up to, that's what you do, you're already geared up to do it. You have the tools and the equipment, the personnel, it's just.
That's correct. People come in and say, I like to pay my school tax. So, the clerk keys it in. So when they come in and say, I like to pay my taxes, they can, the cities and they can, the counties, and it's.
And we also collect, not for the county, but for ESD1, ESD2, maybe, forgive me, it's Walking School, or
Walking Water.
Water District. This takes separate agreements, those individuals will be required to give them some notice so that they can, I'm sure we got some agreement with them, that's been before I got here years ago. So some agreement that we have to give notice to those entities that they will need to also find a way to collect their taxes.
Yeah, we would offer to collect their taxes as well. We've actually we're working on a spreadsheet on what it would cost to collect each entity's taxes, and that's where we saw the reduction in all the other entities we collect for, and like the ESD 1 and 2, theirs is, they have a lot of parcels, but the tax rate is so low, it's it's not a large cost really to any of those other entities. A couple of small cities, and they're kind of really a nominal amount.
Appreciate that, thank you very much. Commissioners, anything further? Anybody else anything further? All right. Thanks so much.
Thank you for having me. Have a good day.
You too.
All right, number 3, as you know, and ladies and gentlemen, may remember, at our last meeting, we read the resignation letter of Mark's Board Justice of Peace Precinct 1, and now it's time for us to take official action for backfilling that slot. My recommendation, if we could do this in previous time, we could put Justice of Peace or otherwise, and that's to take applications and resumes. And then at a future meeting, hold an interview process. I believe we can do it through executive session personnel matters, but I want to speak with our attorney before I guarantee that. But then, take a process where we take in resumes, give a certain cutoff date, and then sit down with all those with resumes, have an interview one-on-one. Obviously have our attorney in with us because that's the prosecutor that operates in that office. Possibly have our JP number 2 in with us because that individual knows the office of JP so well. And have a very good interview session whereby we can see the strengths and weaknesses of each character and hopefully appoint the best possible candidate for JP number 1. That's my recommendation. Y'all's thoughts?
Sounds good.
So,
Same process as we went through with Mr. Phil.
yes.
Need a motion?
That sounds like it, yes.
Make a motion, we go out for application for precinct 1, Justice of Peace.
Okay, we have a motion and a second by Mr. Montgomery. All in favor of discussion? If not, disapprove this vote, and I'll start taking the minute this afternoon. So you guys can go over. I'll call the question, and all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Any extensions? And then Rhonda, what do you got? Good. Bring back, we'll take that back up when we get off the first page. Thank you for getting that. Okay, so we have the additional employee wage status changes that we talked about. So we're looking at, we have Ms. Sarah Ryan, Sheriff's Office, taking advantage of that specialized skills. We appreciate people who have additional education. Mr. Matthew Quinn, he's come on to our SWAT team. Bless him for doing that. Ms. Kelly Allen at the Sheriff's Department, again, received her advanced telecommunicator license. That's a huge thing for us. Moving the telecommunicators up, they do such an amazing job and so important in everything we do here. I don't think they give enough credit, to be honest with you. Corey Williams, the Sheriff's Office, is moving on. About their resignation, Jessica Castro has moved up to investigator and got an intermediate peace officer certification. That's incredible. More intermediate peace officers than I can remember in a long time, Sheriff. I think the programs are working there.
Excuse me, Judge.
Yes, sir.
On the SWAT deal, those positions have not been assigned yet, so that's not in effect.
Okay, so that's not,
That's a mistake. Yes, sir.
okay, we'll catch you mistake. Did you catch that, Rhonda?
Some of these are not. Well, can we get together?
Should we pull all these and come back?
Well, the other ones were fine, just the one, because those trials haven't been completed yet.
Which one was that?
So that's Mr. Quinn.
That's to remove it. It was to remove the SWAT pay and FTO on that.
Oh,
No, it says remove FTO pay and add slot pay.
Oh, it does.
Yes, ma'am, it does.
That's not
Okay,
right.
then please pull that out.
If they're not doing FTO at the time, that's not supposed to be on there either.
Okay, well, I haven't seen the other FTO yet. Thank you. State raise for completion FTO, interim nothing. Is that correct or?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good deal. Stacy Parker, she achieved her jailer's certification. Congratulations, Ms. Parker. Jordan Gatewood, is another one of our voluntary training, or voluntary resignation from jail trainees. Not a job for everybody. We appreciate that. And then Ms. Rebecca Weaver, who's the assistant elections administrator, has accepted the position back with the Hillsborough City of Hillsborough, and she will be leading us. As you guys may or may not know, that position by the election code is to be filled by the elections administrator, so they're in the process of taking applications for assistant elections administrator. If anybody's interested, please have the application there and agree for us. So, all right, that's where we're at. Those are the rest of the employee wage status changes. Is there a motion and second?
Make a motion.
Motion and second. Is there any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, any abstentions, motion carries. Number 4, discuss and approve a contract between Hill County and Salt Ridge Properties LLC for the construction of the precinct barn for Road and Bridge, Department number 3. I've heard back from our council. Our council says, yes, we're good to go. Commissioner, your thoughts?
I'll make a motion to approve it.
So a motion is second. To approve the construction contract with Salt Ridge LLC. This is for the Hill County Precinct 3 Maintenance Barn. That's been a long time coming. It's got to be a heck of a weight off your shoulders to get started.
Yes, sir.
All right. Any further discussion? Yes, ma'am.
I had reached out to, Cody or something on his insurance. We hadn't received his insurance certificate.
Can you get that for
Yeah, I was waiting until the day's over, and then I'm gonna send you everything.
Okay, great.
All right, so we have a motion and a second, any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. That brings us to number 5, which is discussion and action on first draw for materials for the Hill County Precinct 3 Maintenance Barn. I would recommend approving this, but it's gonna have to be subject to our auditor having it in her hand. So she can't hand the check until she has the insurance form she needs. Okay, good.
Well, I'll make a motion.
Second.
Okay.
Can we do a contingency on
Yes,
this?
sir. Yeah, we make a
Contingent on the certificate of insurance.
So we can approve first draw, but not release the check until such time the auditor has the materials that she needs. So, is that your motion?
That is my motion.
And there's a second, Mr. Watkins?
Yes.
All right, wonderful. Anything further? If not, I'll call the question. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carried. Number 6, discuss and approve a contract between Hill County and Yoder Construction for the construction of a bridge spanning Brooking Creek on Hill County Road 306. That's not 306, that's a typo, I know.
3206.
3206, not bad, we're scrivener's error.
Not a problem.
Caught that.
We got Brook and Creek right. That's the main thing.
We got Brooking Creek, correct, that is right. Do you have a copy of that contract?
Yeah, it's,
Okay, I must have left it on the file. So anyway, if you're good with it, then I'm good with it.
yes, David and Mr. Yoder.
They pay him to be the attorney, not me.
Yeah. Mr. Yoder and David got together.
Thank you, I appreciate it. Thank you. Okay. Bridge, Yoder, Paris, Texas, County Good.
Make a motion to approve.
Second to approve, contract for Hill County and Yoder Construction for construction of bridge spanning Brooklyn Creek, Hill County Road 3206. Is there any further discussion
Boy, what changes.
It needs to go.
and commentary?
I don't know how it got here.
All right.
No.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
Did I leave a blank for the bid announcement? I think I was clear on the bid announcement.
Oh, let me go look. One second. Yes, sir. On page number 3, county will pay contractor X, and I don't know what that number is off the top of my head.
The total cost is $254,000.
Would you like to defend it if we just check that real quick after court and fill it in?
No.
Okay, I'll do that. So we'll check that against the bid that you have put in, make sure you got it correct. Thank you. This is a software department contract. If you already approved this, I'm gonna go ahead and sign off on it too. This is the same contract, it's just 2 copies of it. We can do the paperwork here, we got to do the sorry about that. Okay, number 7, discuss and approve payment of escrow funds in the Hill Creek Ranch subdivision. Hill Creek Ranch subdivision, obviously is the large subdivision going in just south across corner. And we have escrow funds holding both phase A and phase B. Our reviewer, county surveyor, Mr. Dents, has said go ahead and pay off on a total of 5 invoices. That's 2 from phase A and 3 from phase BC, correct? Okay. And so the phase A is $64,600, and the invoice total from phase B is $227,600. And those would be the orders in front of you to approve the payment for those escrow funds.
Make recommendation, we accept.
Second.
Motion and second to approve order to release escrow funds to Hill Creek Ranch for phase A in the amount of $64,600 and phase BC in the amount of $227,600. Any further? We're good on topic, guys. Okay, all right, my phone question, all in favor, say aye.
Yeah.
Aye. All opposed? Any abstentions? The ayes have it, the noes no.
I've got one question for the treasurer on this. I'm assuming we're using the same account. We're not establishing.
Correct.
They need to fund. I think you're gonna work on funding that second phase yesterday.
Yeah, I have the invoices here, so I can give it to the cashier. And then I'll sign off for the.
There you go, sir. Thank you.
So you're saying I haven't put in the money for the second phase?
I see him, the escrow agreement yesterday. I'm assuming that they're gonna try to get it funded yesterday, whether or not it happened today or today, I don't know. So we just need to confirm that they actually put the escrow funds for the second phase into this account
Okay.
before we pay it out.
I didn't change it. Yeah, I understand what you're saying. See, we pay on phase A at 64, but,
Because we were waiting for the escrow agreement back from Wells Fargo.
okay, I didn't catch that. Thank you for pointing that out. We'll get that clarified. So we can pay on a $64,000 order, but the second order until we have confirmation that that money's there.
Actually, not first, you paid the 227,600, not 64,600.
Okay, I think that's backwards. So phase BC is first and phase, okay, all right. Yes. All right. We're gonna pay both of them once we have the money, and that's real good. But they're gonna start off paying $227,600. And then when they confirm later that the escrow, the paperwork is then finalized by Wells Fargo in phase A. They did phase BC first, phase A second.
So your first motion is phase.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. That's recently encouraged discussion though, because these things come up, and, you know.
There's money.
There's money, yeah, yeah. That's it.
Dyslexia.
It appears they have nearly all of them sold.
All of what?
All the lots appear to be sold.
Wonderful. They'll start building houses on that, yeah, man.
I think Karen said she had a location for one of them.
Oh, wow. Pretty great. Carl's Corner, just off of 29, the first, go west of Interstate 35 east, that first corner across of 29, that whole area south of County Road, I guess southwest of County Road, 100 some odd acres there, and they turned it into one big subdivision. So It'd be a lot of homes, but that's good. We've got a lot of businesses coming in Hillsborough, people need a place to live. So. All right, we'll move along then. Number 8, discussion of approved contract for law enforcement services between Hill County and U.S. Corps of Engineers. This is what we call our Lake Patrol contract. Mr. Mother's Captain, what do we got this morning?
Yes, sir. This year, the Corps is asking us to provide 696 hours of extra patrol for the Lake Patrol contract we do every year. The total for the contract would be $47,836.08.
That's about the same amount of time that you provided last year?
It is 8 hours short, and that's just a holiday, extra holiday. So, and that cost covers the hourly price for the deputy and for the car.
Sounds good.
You happy with it?
I'm happy with it. This is actually us going up from, I believe, a little over $36 an hour last year. We're requesting $40 an hour this year. But the overall cost is only going up $2,000 or $3,000 from our contract last year. So hopefully they'll approve it.
If the attorney's good with it, I'll make a motion.
All right, good.
Second.
Motion and second to approve contract between the law enforcement services between Hill County and the U.S. Corps of Engineers. We're working on our Lake Patrol contract. So this will provide law enforcement services on Lake Whitney and Lake Florida on federal property. So that's the discussion. Any further questions? Any further discussion? If not, I'll call the question then. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes unanimously. I'm going to just back to the signature page, which I passed a minute ago, and cannot find.
I think I saw one on mine.
Yeah, it's right here towards the front. That's the contract summary, that's the cover sheets. Authorized government representative. All right, that moves us on to number 9, discuss and approve the Hill County CPS Board Treasurer's Report for February 2021. Treasurer's Report, balance of Hill County funds $11,560.52, and there has been no change in the month of February. They provide us a recap of the numbers are all the same. So their total current assets and checking savings, the Hill County account for 501c3 nonprofit is $85,195.51. And then they had public donations in the amount of $16,119.12, and expenses, emergency bedding, is $525.54. In that category, as you know, that when children are removed from homes, these folks step in because all those children have nothing and they're taken out of this home, and they provide them clothes, suitcases, things like that. And that ordinary income for the month was $15,503. So that is the entirety of it.
Make a motion approved.
Second.
Okay. Motion and a second. You also notice that there's a 2020 report attached to this, and it breaks down by month what their activities for February, April, November, and December. Of course, they did things in between those with major ones. This group has been diligent in taking care of these children that finally into our system. I don't have enough good things to say about them. And our next commission meeting, I believe, will be bringing 2 board members to be appointed to this board. So, we have a motion and a second to approve and report the Hill County CPS Treasurer's Report for February 2021. Is there any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? It carries. Number 11, discuss and approve monthly reports. I don't think we're going to do that this time. We're going to pass till next meeting. Oh, I did not. You're correct. I'm sorry. My reading comprehension is not what it should be this morning. So we did the first one, which is number 9, which is the report. Number 10 was their annual report, which is the second thing we talked about. So did everybody get a chance to look at number 10? which is the annual report that talks about the months of February, April, December, we go over the what they do during the month. And so is there a motion to observe and record that?
Make a motion.
Motion and second to observe and record the County Tax Collector Services Board 2020 annual report. Commentary? Discussion? Question? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Any abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. So we have no report for the offices, budget amendments. I have a budget amendment here. This is simply Scrivener's error we're correcting. We coded a line into the wrong place when we went to the vehicles, so now we've got to go back and correct that line code. And that was going from line item 274, 4101. We're going to have 44,374, which is the cost of the vehicle we approved for Commissioner Miller, Commissioner Constable Miller. And we're going to remove that from 2271, 4101, which is where it mistakenly got put, and it will be put in the right line. This is Constable Miller for you. His vehicle was not that great, the old one, but they sent him the new one, and he was not happy with it, and he sent it back to them. And they apologized up and down for the call me and said, we'll get it corrected. I'm like, man, it's gonna do a job. So anyway, that is the budget amendment for today.
Make a motion to approve.
Motion and a second to approve the budget amendment. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Number 13 is discussion or action on purchasing a carport and support services building. All right, so here's what we're talking about. If you guys been behind the Franklin Street building, there is a carport, it's an RV storage port that Tom Hammer donated to the county years ago, and we've moved that. So we got a bid of moving it because it takes a crew to move it. They wanted $4,500 to take this thing apart, move it to the support service, rebuild it. I said, just for giggles, what does a new one cost?
$39, I was thinking it was going on, I got it, it's cheap.
$3,900 to just buy a new one and have it come assembled on site. So I didn't want to go off and spend $4,500 for something we moved twice already. With $3,900, I get a brand new piece of equipment. I know it's just $3,900, but I'm trying to keep you in the loop on all of this stuff. And I want to make sure that y'all are okay with this. What your thoughts are.
Where are you gonna put it?
Okay, so what Sally Port was, go back towards the trash can to the east. We're gonna butt up against the building, and then we are going to put the chain link fence, which you took down when the tower came in, and move that fence over to the north. So it encompasses that carport, and they'll park that van underneath there. It's nearby where it can be plugged into the electrical port, they run a power port, it can be plugged into the tower, the radio, or any other life support systems in this plant.
I'm just asking.
Yes, sir.
Well, if it's just a simple carport, why wouldn't we, I think you can build one cheaper than that, more sturdy, more structurally sound.
6,500 was the bid build.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we looked at a couple of options on this, and I should have mentioned that, sorry, thank you for correcting me. But yeah, we did look at having it built, I won't name the guy that we used, it's a bid, we used him before, I like his work, good gentleman, but 6,500 to do that. So, presented with all options in front of us, I kind of recommend $3,900 here. Tom's happy with it, Ed seems to think it's gonna work fine. Ed's never happy, you're right, that's, yeah, Ed does.
Okay.
Ed likes brownies, you know this.
He does like brownies.
Ed Ed's happy with brownies.
I'll make a motion.
All right, we have a motion and a second to purchase a carport in the amount of $3,900 to support services building. We're gonna take that out of the non-departmental capital outlay line, part of that, so, that's what I recommend for. Any further discussion, questions?
Second.
Second from Mr. Scotty Hawkins. All right, all in favor, say aye.
Yeah.
All opposed, motion carried. The next is, I don't have a list in front of me, but I'll tell you exactly what I want to declare salvage surplus. Marshall, are you still there? Marshall? No. Okay, so we have about approximately 50 empty filing cabinets down this Covington Street. I need to get out of my way. And then because we changed our voting system to this new voting system, we no longer have a need for those metal ballot boxes. And we have 74 of those. And instead of storing all that stuff, the election administrator is going to be asked, can we sell 50 of them? The only reason he's keeping 24 at the moment is if something odd comes up, they said, well, it doesn't think he'll need them, but just hold on to them. But he'd like to get rid of 50 of the ballot boxes. And we have approximately 50 empty filing cabinets in Covington Street that need to go. I don't think any of them have individual value over $500, but in the spirit of doing things the right way, I'm asking if you guys declare that salvage surplus property. And then I'm gonna call Mr. Cadix and say, here's what I got, and put it out there.
Make a motion.
And most of those filing cabinets do not have inventory tags, by the way.
Okay, we'll look at them. And if you want to go ahead and add Lou's list, I forgot to bring it down.
Yes.
We have the list.
If you guys, go ahead.
Of the chairs or whatever.
Yes.
Things he wanted to get rid of.
Also, Lou's got a bunch of furniture we pulled out of the top end of the Franklin Street building that we want to declare salvage surplus, and it is junk, folks, it's straight up junk, but again, if you need some junk, I got it for you. So just to clarify, I'm asking to declare salvage surplus approximately 50 ballot boxes, approximately 50 empty filing cabinets, and then the tables, chairs list, which we have in our possession from Mr. Lucio Valteris. So that's what I got.
Make a motion.
Thank you.
Second.
Motion and a second to take action to claim property salvage surplus. The aforementioned items, all in favor say aye.
Yeah.
Aye. All opposed, motion carries. Number 15 is discussing action on selling those. Gentlemen, I recommend you take Mr. Cadix up on his offer to sell that fine equipment for us.
Make a motion.
Motion and a second to sell the aforementioned salvage surplus property or attempt to sell it on Cadix Auction Services. Yes, ma'am. No, Mr. Stretch, make sure what's done. All right, in which case, all in favor say aye.
Yeah.
Aye. All opposed, motion carries. Commission.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion second, we stand adjourned. Thank you for your attention. Everybody, hopefully.